Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now, today, before we finish June, move into July, which I think is the official start of summer, we must always do our Q&A. So you know the deal. Riddler goes up. You drop your questions down below. We've got chapters tools down below because we go quite long. We'll give everyone a good answer. So we've got everything from how to churn Huntington Bank in 2026. We're talking about the Pen Fed Pathfinder card and the trend we've seen of credit cards increasing benefits and then later increasing the annual fees. All that and more. So of course, if it sounds interesting to you, go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Well, if you are a frequenter of the show, then you know we were going to have to do this. We might as well get this 15-20 minute segment going here. And the first one is Mr. Grabbag himself with quite a few questions. I mean, this is a solid block of text we have here. So let's get to it, shall we? So let's see. Now that Chase Sapphire Preferred has been refreshed, how would you rank the top 4 mid-tier $95 cards? So between the Journey, the Strata Premier, the Venture, I would say Venture still last. That one's pretty easy. I mean, it's still a terrible card. They've done nothing with it, so not too bad. The Premier and the Preferred is going to be based on, do you value the insurances of the Preferred, which is probably best in business, especially at that price point, or do you want a well-rounded version of multipliers? The Sapphire Preferred Hotel Credit, a little bit easier to use. It's a lot easier to use because it's a lower, there is no dollar amount threshold actually. I would still probably go Premier myself, but I prefer multipliers. So I'd probably go Premier, Preferred, Journey, Venture. I think the Journey works for me because I have a bunch of other cards. The other two are a little bit more well-rounded. So I think that order, I would go with that order. But if someone wanted to put the Sapphire Preferred first, I wouldn't say no. I think there's a lot of people who wouldn't simply because of the Hyatt kneecapping. But again, I don't really feel strongly about Hyatt myself. So I would go Premier simply because I like the wider range of multipliers. But Sapphire Preferred definitely helped itself out quite a bit with that credit, the global entry deal, and the gas one. So I could definitely see the argument. Will Chase ever remove online grocery from Sapphire Preferred and make it all groceries? If they did that, would it make a direct threat? I mean, it's still a big threat already to those guys. If Citi hadn't killed the custom cash, then they would still be kind of on a roll. But it's still very much a threat. Again, like I just said, I can see why people would put the Sapphire Preferred above that one. You could argue it does more for $95 with the easier to use credits, the better insurance, things of that nature. If they dropped online from groceries, then yeah, I think it wins. I would think it wins. Having online as a restriction is pretty annoying. I mean, either you're going to order your own. Some people like the online grocery ordering. It takes me 10 minutes, if that, to walk through the grocery store as a single person who lives by themselves. I'm not buying that much stuff. So I don't want to do the online. I just want to go grab it. I go in the morning and it's fine. So if they got rid of that, then yes. Will they? No. I mean, it took them how long to add gas? I mean, gas for the longest time was 2x on the cash. It took them decades to do that. So yeah, you got another few decades. Or they save it, they're sitting on it for when they finally hike the fee to $150. That could be it. Either you see it when they move to $150, or they could also just say, hey, we just gave you all this stuff. But it seems like it would be pretty hard to hike the fee and not give you anything because we have short memories. So I would go with that. Let's see. Which is better, no annual fee, no foreign transaction fee card, Altitude Connect, or Autograph? Well, I'm a fan of the Autograph US, because didn't the US Bank one they change? It's like because it earns points, but if you just want to cash the points out, then isn't it like a little bit worse of a valuation? The Connect card is pretty good though. I like it better since they dropped the annual fee off of it, because originally when it launched it had an annual fee, but it is a pretty good card. I just thought there was something weird they did with the points valuation if you wanted to cash them out versus redeem them maybe for a statement credit or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. I should have looked it up. But I'll still go Autograph because it's easier to use. I think you get a little bit more coverage on the 3x. Connect does go up to 4x on travel, I want to say, which is nice. If you're looking for a no-frills travel card and you're surrounded by a bunch of other cards, I think the Connect is a good player. I'll still lean autograph, but I'm just biased at this point. I'm on my Wells Fargo side. I'm just going to stick to my side. But yeah, I did look at the Connect when I was looking at which card to get for travel. I don't think it's bad by any means. I didn't think it ever had any business being $95. But now that it's free, it's definitely in the mix for sure. Which is better, Strata, no, the white one, Wells Fargo autograph. Autograph has no. I'll go autograph again over Strata. Strata doesn't do anything to blow me away. I mean, you have the one category you can choose, but I'll never get over it because it was the Rewards Plus, and now it's a Strata. The Rewards Plus was good within the Citi ecosystem. Moving it to Strata, they made it worse. I mean, it's not terrible, partly because it's free, but it's not. It doesn't do anything near what its old brother used to do. So again, I'm gonna go autograph on that one. The Strata just doesn't really have anything. It's with the autograph I like it because you get a wide range of coverage. The Strata worked well. The Premier Rewards Plus worked well for just giving you a little bit of points boost on all your other thank you point cards. And I'm just never going to forgive it for that. So a lot of this might just be skewed and spitefulness on my part. I don't even know if these are fair answers. How much credit limit is your regular Wells Fargo autograph? Now it's $1,000. It was like 38 grand. And when I got the Journey, Wells just moved 37 of that to the Journey and left me with 1,000 on the autograph, which is fine by me. They should tell you when I know they mail home a letter, but imagine using that card consistently and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I didn't know I only had $1,000. Like they should tell you better than just a letter, but they could tell you at application. But I didn't realize it until I was like, wow, I got another 30 grand from Wells Fargo. I was like, no, they just moved the money. So now it's $1,000. Do you think the regular Citi Strata, the free one, is a good cashback card if you just want cashback? It's not bad. I don't think it can be your only card, but if you wanted it, you're in cash back, it's not bad. You can definitely do better, I guess, is the thing. I mean, we're trying to go for 5x, and now even we might have to drop to 4x a little bit given all the changes. So it doesn't do anything special to me. It's not like, the autograph where you can do a lot of coverage for having one card or something like that. So yeah, it's fine. It's just I don't think you're just going to need more cards, basically, if you're trying to earn a lot. Other than that, it's okay, but nothing special. Nerd Wallet about the Citi Double Cash versus the Wells Fargo Active Cash from May. That's what they said. So basically, I think what they're getting at, let's see, technical point here, but on one that separates these two so similar cards. Wells Fargo Active Cash gives you 2% cash back on purchases for an overall rewards rate of 2% no matter how you redeem them. The one that is simple, so does Citi Double Cash card if you redeem rewards as a bank deposit or paper check, but if you redeem cash back for a credit on your account statement, you don't earn the second 1% on that redeem. I didn't know that. You never actually pay off the redeemed cash back. Oh, I see what they're saying. So basically, if I summarize this, what Nerd Wallet is saying, the Citi Double Cash is technically one back when you buy it and one back when you pay it. So what this is saying is that if you were to redeem cash back earned on a Double Cash as a statement credit, you technically didn't pay it, so we're not going to give you the extra 1% back. That seems just, what does Peter Griffin say, shallow and pedantic? I mean, that just seems a bit much, right? It's still paid. They were still my points. I still paid them. Like that's just being ridiculous over the top. Now, the way I feel about all rules is if it's easily accessibly called out, then I think it's fine because then it's a choice. But I'm going to guess, since I've never heard of this before, which sounds arrogant in its own right, is that this is not easily called out. It's like credit card processing fees. I have no problem with anyone charging whatever credit card processing fee they want, so long as it's very easy to walk into a store and be like, oh, it's right there. Cool, before I make the purchase. I'm going to guess they're not disclosing this to people in a very easy to see manner. And so for that reason, I would say this is terrible. It's terrible all to begin with, but yeah, it just seems silly and over the top. I do not like that. That's how I feel about it. How do you know if you have to be approved for 5K credit limit to get the AAA Daily Advantage? I don't know if it has to be 5,000 or not. It's something about Visa Signature has a limit. You might be right. I think it is like Infinite was 10,000. Visa Signature was supposed to be 5, but I've seen approvals all over the place, so I don't know how that's enforced anymore. I think the Infinite one is enforced, but I've seen visas issued for a lot less than $5,000. I mean, same with MasterCard, Worlds, and all that. I don't think it happens too often. I think I got 9,000, maybe 10,000 when they approved me, something like that. So I know what you're talking about. I don't know. I feel like that rule's not really enforced that much anymore, especially on a card that like doesn't really have that many benefits over just like an actual like the Visa Signature. Like the Visa Signature for Sapphire Preferred is not the same Visa Signature as a AAA card, even though they're both Visa Signature. You know what I mean? Like so, I think for that card, I don't know specifically. Either the AAA Visa cards metal? No, I think mine's definitely plastic. I have the Daily Advantage. The other ones, they're both plastic. They're not metal cards. What's the weight? I don't. It's just the same as a plastic because they're not metal. What's your current primary catch-all credit card as of June 19th? Also, do you have a secondary? I don't have a secondary. My catch-all is my Bank of America card. Until the end of August, it's going to be 3.1% back, and then that was part of the intro offer. And then my preferred rewards goes away in April 2027. So from August to April, it'll be 2.6, and then after April, it will be 2.25. I don't have another catch-all card. I actually phoned into US Bank to close my Smartly card. They wouldn't let me product change it for the zillionth time. I just hung up talking to my friend, and he was like, yeah, I just got off the phone, product changed my Smartly. So I called them up, and they're like, nope, can't do it. So they just shut it down. I'm doing that more so just to get some of these open, my credit limit lower, to maybe help with approvals in the future. So I don't really have another there. I only have that card. I don't have another 2% card or anything. I don't know that I really need one, especially in this day and age. It's spots and applications are so limited. I mean, if something were to happen to the Bank of America card, I mean, I guess, but I'm going to keep it, so nothing should really happen to it. So I don't see the need to have 2 catch-all cards. Really, if I absolutely positively had to, I guess I could product change something, but I likely wouldn't. How do you feel about the discontinuation of the Wells Fargo Attune? As I had previously mentioned, a lot of people had been complaining that the coding wouldn't code correctly. I do remember that. I mean, I know what you know in the sense that like I looked into it over the years because it's a card that's like very niche, but you don't see those categories too often. And yeah, some people got it to work correctly, and then others were like, I'm using it at places that it should code correctly, and it's not. And Wells Fargo never really addressed that or fixed it. They just say merchant category code and move on, right? So that really put it at the back of the list for me. I don't know if they discontinued it because it wasn't popular or because I doubt they care that it was broken, or it was too popular with a certain group on the internet. But even then, they weren't categories that you're gonna like just crush them on, right? Like how much I pay like how much you spend into the barbershop, right, or the gym, right? So I'm gonna guess it had to be a combination of popularity. It wasn't really that popular. It didn't work right, and it only landed in people who were using it, but they weren't using it a ton. They were using it in very specific use cases, which isn't going to generate a lot of expense. So it might just have been a miss on their side, which is again, it was a good attempt, but there's probably a reason why most issuers just give you the 5% rotating category card, a 2% card, and then maybe some kind of travel focused card. Because again, I don't think it's going to appeal to the masses. So that's my guess. It's a combination of it. I would imagine they might come out with a replacement, not this year, but eventually they might. Also, now that Attune is gone, I guess the credit card that is most similar to that would be the no annual fee Strata. Yeah, I think so, because it's got the choose your category one, and they're not crazy. They're not as niche as that. Like the Attune at like barbershops and beauty salons, like you don't really see that too often. But with the choose your own category, it is probably the next closest option. It's not close, but it's the closest option, if that makes sense. So yeah, I would agree with that. Again, if you're that one person, then like, yeah, this completes your setup, then by all means, go ahead and get it. Big credit card predictions for the second half of this year, July to December. I like how I appreciate like your clarification. And you're like, just in case you didn't get it, it's July to December. I do appreciate the clarification. It does help with the questions though. Loss of another favorite credit card or new credit cards coming in perhaps. The summer is kind of the big time. Like I think we see a lot of the summer refreshes. We see a lot of the intro offers. I don't think I have any major predictions. I mean, we've already lost so many cards and so many have been surprises. I think we'll see a move, which we're going to talk about this a little bit later, so I won't get into it too much, but I do think we'll see a move to more relationship banking requirements. Like I do think there's going to be a shift in approvals, and a lot of them are going to follow, a lot more of them are going to follow Chase / Bank of America, meaning that like Chase took away the 24-month rule, the 48-month rule for Sapphires. And you say, well, you know, if you've had it before, we might not give it to you, which is fine. But I think we're going to see that on top of like the Bank of America rules, which is like, well, if you're a current customer, then it's 7 and 12, but if you're not, then it's 3 and 12. So I don't necessarily think everyone's going to give us more rewards like Bank of America and PNC, but I do think we're going to start to see, if they're not doing it already, but maybe more evaluating their higher relationship with folks. And like, yeah, if you're spending, by all means, we'll give you whatever you want. But if you're not, then it's going to be easy to get 1, maybe 2 cards, and after that, it's going to be tougher. We're going to want more from you. I think that's what we're going to start to see more of, if it's not already here. We really just need to see more of the crowdsourced information, I guess, to clarify that. But that's my guess, which isn't really a fun prediction, but I think we're going to start moving towards that more. I'll expand on it more, I think, when we get to that question. Are you planning to see Toy Story 5? Also, do you believe they should have stopped after the 3rd or 4th one? Personally, they were better off as a trilogy. I remember the first one, and then I've seen that one for sure. And then there's another one where like he grows up and like they're gonna like donate his toys or something, right? And then there's like another one where he's like off to college. I remember vaguely those two. I mean, the first one for sure, it's a classic. The other two, I just remember him being older. I don't remember what they got into or what they were doing. I did not see the 4th one, so I have some catching up to do. Maybe if I can sail the high seas to see it, sure, but like I'm not really a big go to the movies and spend money person. So if you give me the summary down below, tell me you're saying I should watch the first 3, but then I probably need to watch the 4th one to see the 5th one, right? I mean, that guy's got to be an adult. What is his name? Andy? Like he's got to be a grown up by now, right? Like they're got to be like his kids' toys or something, I would imagine. I don't know. Maybe we just found a new kid. I don't know. So I did not have plans to see that. I still haven't seen He-Man and Mortal Kombat. Those are probably more up my another John Wick movie maybe. So there you go. Thanks for writing in with the grab bag. I think we hit all of them in speed run fashion. You got like 18 minutes out of me. So now we have to play nice with the other kids. You have to share. But thank you as always for taking the time. 50 grand here. Our credit card companies upgrading their cards with new enhanced features first and then come back later in a few months to increase their annual fees. Are they doing it this way because more users have been canceling their annual fee cards due to the economic times we are in these days? Normally update the credit cards and raise the annual fees at the same time. Why do I think this is happening? This is an interesting trend because of the Sapphire Preferred, we were for sure, like I would have bet significant sums of money. That thing was going up to $150. And if you go back and look at it, it's been $95 forever. Like, I don't know that the value of the product is justified, but in how it works, the time that's passed, you're justified to raise the price, right? Delta just did this as well. They not an overall refresh, but they gave you the second check bag free. They kind of threw a credit in there to the rest of the cards. I think the economy part is also interesting because it really depends on who you ask, right? Like they'll ask, news or whoever will go out and talk to regular people and then be like, oh my gosh, it's doom and gloom, this sucks. But then you ask some other people and they're like, no, this is fantastic. And it's really, we're seeing, this is not so much credit card related, but I don't remember a time where like mega companies were rushing to tell people, hey, we're firing a bunch of people, and then the valuation goes up, right? Because they're claiming they're firing them for, AI and things of that nature. So it is fairly divided, and I think that kind of speaks to it a little bit from the standpoint of you've got these 95, these lower tier cards that they don't quite want to vacate that price point just yet. Because if I'm Chase, I look around, we're still, as the other guy just asked, there's still a few $95 cards out there. So I don't know that I want to be the first one to just give up on that space, and totally get rid of it, given what you said, the economy piece. I think you're probably right in the sense that these changes were planned, and they said, hey, well, to keep people around, we'll give them to them now. Maybe I got like the last question. Like, I could imagine a world where Chase drops online from groceries, but they say, let me push these changes now to the Sapphire Preferred for free. Let me hold back one or two more so that when I do get around to increasing the fee, I can still give you something, because we have very short memories. So we would still forget they gave us something for nothing. And let me also try to make the tie-in so that, you can still have both Sapphire cards, right? Because now, yes, the preferred pays for itself, but it pays for itself by going through my travel booking site. But I also took away Hyatt, so maybe I can get you to go to the Big Brother card. Oh, by the way, you can have both cards now, too, if you want. And wouldn't you know it, I'm just running the offers concurrently back to back. 150 for the Sapphire Reserve is gone. Now there's 100 for the Sapphire Preferred. And you could have both, So I think they're trying stuff like that as well. But I definitely think there's some of it, again, these $95 cards, you see them out everywhere. They're definitely for the masses. And right now the masses, right, wrong, or indifferent, are, crying about the economy. And so, yes, I think that's definitely part of it. But these fees will come due at some point, because they're not going to give us anything for free, as we've learned. And I'm trying to think of anyone else who's done this lately. Those are the only ones that come to mind, because we just had Wyndham do it, but Wyndham increased the fees and increased the perks, which is generally how you see it go. Then you have someone like American Express, who if you're crying about the economy, I don't really think they want you as a customer anyways. So yes, I think you're right. I do think that the bill will come due on these fees. I think they're holding a little bit back. And I also think, at least in the Chase, they're trying to make it more so you have more. So maybe I don't get all your money in the preferred, but I push you to the reserve. Again, you're still going through my portal, and I'm also saving money as well, because I imagine even when you redeem for Hyatt points, Chase still has to buy those points from Hyatt, I would say. So now I'm still saving money as well. So it came in another way, I would say. Maybe not the full way they wanted, and then we'll see the full change later on. It's my guess. Asterisk here, why doesn't everyone have the Pen Fed Pathfinder card? Isn't it just the easiest card to keep and just use for the free $100 in one of the 8 airlines that are eligible for the airline ancillary credit? Sign-up bonus basically covers the $500 minimum of the checking account. Worst case scenario, it's a slightly worse U.S. Bank Altitude Connect. I'll put it on screen. Let me see. I guess I could just looked it up on the phone, but the iPad's here. So many screens. Let's see. The answer is I kind of forget this card exists. But yeah, so you have the Pen Fed Pathfinder. It's not bad. I think part of it is that, people think Pen Fed almost like USAA. It doesn't sound like something I could get into, but they are open to everybody, I believe. So like you said, 800 in travel perks without the high annual fee. So if you have the free checking account, I think it even works. You become a Pen Fed Honors and you get to the $500 balance, like you said. 50,000 points for $3,000 and spend the first 90 days. Earnings wise here, again, you're looking at 4x points on all travel categories for Pen Fed Honors Advantage members, which is just have the companion checking account, or 3 back if you didn't want to do that. 3 back on dining, and then bonus, we covered that. Then the $200 statement credit for purchase of global entry, up to $100 credit for domestic airline ancillary travels. It's not a bad card by any means. There's even a happy person in the promotional material, so not a bad card at all. I'm gonna guess. Granted, I do forget it exists, but if you wanted that, it's got like some decent insurances, trip delay, insurance there, rental car coverage, no foreign transaction fees, even the level of priority pass in there as well. So, I think this is a good option, to be sure. I really think, like I said, I'm not blaming other people, because I also forget that it's out there. But I think Pen Fed, when you think Pen Fed, it kind of feels like a USAA thing where it's like, oh, can I get into that? So they forget about it. I'd have to look into the redemptions. I forget if you can just redeem for statement credit or against purchases, but on a glance, yeah, I think it's fine. I would put it on one. I would put it in one of the underrated cards, especially since you have to bank somewhere. So if you wanted to make that, plus they have another card, I think a 2% card as well. You just make that your regular checking account. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's, like I said, possibly it's really not a popular bank or a credit union. Well, one, I think it's a credit union. We don't talk about those too often. You forget that it's open to everybody. It feels like it shouldn't be open to everybody, like a USAA. And then, of course, the obligatory, there's no referral or affiliate links that I've seen. Doesn't help as well in this game, on this platform anyways. But yeah, I would put that in the underrated hidden gems category of cards to be sure. Again, I just have to check how you can redeem the points, how that works. But other than that, if you're a no frills travel person, like if you're me, right? If you're like, I don't want the credits or the coupons or the status and things like that. If you're looking at, like you said, the Connect or the Journey or even some of those other $95 cards, I think this would work. Would this replace your Sapphire Reserve fans, your Platinum fans, your Venture X fans? No, but I don't think it's meant to. It's definitely down in the $95 range. And for that range, for that type of person, yes, I think they should definitely consider it. So good call by you, sir. Evan here, he knows more words than just based. I mean, there's some people who are concerned about you that you only know one word, so way to prove them wrong. How long until BILT runs out of VC money and nukes the obviously unstable rewards program? I would say it's got a year run from the time it at least started. I mean, and the fact that you end up with cardless, which can't be anyone's first choice, let alone it's probably hard to get people to sign up for cardless. But, you can have all the VC money in the world. I mean, they don't have as much money as Wells Fargo. They access to get as much money as Wells Fargo, as a massive bank. It's like, the third largest bank, fourth largest bank in the country. They're too big to fail. So if they're not going to put the money behind it, they can't make it work. Which I would always love to know the reasoning why it didn't work. To me, it seemed like, can we just fold in BILT into our Wells Fargo platform and share transfer partners and share Wells Fargo points? I'm sure there's a reason they couldn't, but having the integrate originations in mortgages, having other cards, other rewards, currencies, it seemed like there was something there. I'm not sure why it didn't happen. I'm sure there's a reason, but if they can't make it work, I don't think these VCs are going to do it. I think it's going to go away at some point. Again, it's partly our fault, There's nothing wrong with using the program the way it's intended, especially the one banana, two banana thing back in the day. But we do place some blame in it not working in its last iteration. This current iteration, I still see the BILT videos pop up here and there. I simply think to protect themselves, it was simple and easy to understand. It's no longer simple and easy to understand. I understand some guys out there like, you can't do math. I know I can't really do math. That's why I'm here and not at MIT. I thought we would have known that after 5 years. But it's not the point. They still need to sell cards to the average person. I've seen people who can make it work and good for them. I don't think it's going to work. I think it's overly complicated. And their one thing was simplicity. So I don't think it's going to work at all. So a timeline, I gave it a year from the time they started, maybe 2, but this is it. I don't know if you at cardless, I don't know where you go after this. I mean, Synchrony, I guess, like that seems worse. It might just go out of business. And the funny part is, like, in the current version of BILT, like, how is it any different than like Mesa credit card that had a really short run? Well, a really short run that we knew of. It could have been around for longer, but Mesa was basically saying, hey, look, it's really hard to do this, so why don't you just use the card, spend on it, and just give me a copy of your mortgage statement. I'll just give you the points for your mortgage statement, right? And that was a pretty simple approach, and I think there's the value of redeeming them was off. Like, you couldn't redeem them for one-to-one for cash, which is why I never looked into it more. I was going to do a video on it, but then they went away suddenly. But all that to say, Mesa was a simpler concept, and they still went away. Granted, they weren't as popular, but if they can't do it, like, what's really the difference in business model there? I know BILT's trying to make their whole platform, and I don't know if people have interest in that type of thing. I guess we'll see, but here, and they're generally just marketed here. I don't know I've ever seen BILT marketed to anyone else other than people here. I don't know how interested people are in the BILT platform, really. They could be, I don't know. It's more of a question. So to answer your question, I think they'll burn through the money in, like, let's call it 18 to 24 months, and that'll be it. And they gave it a good run, for sure. But yeah, they also, with the way everyone shilled for them pretty hard, but no one could really quite explain it, was probably the worst part of it. I applaud them for having the event and bringing everyone out. I thought that was really cool. But when everyone leaves, and like I had to watch like 4 videos and read it how many times to kind of sort of figure out what's going on, like not the best use of everyone's time, but I'm sure someone got paid. One day it's going to be me who gets paid. That's really the thing. Jack Paul's in here. Will you ever return to posting regularly on Twitter? What is your favorite social media platform to use in your personal life? Don't say YouTube. So I tried Twitter and Instagram in the early days of being online, kind of because I thought that's what you were supposed to do. And then it quickly became just a thing I had so that if people had questions, they could just ask me there and I would answer them. I don't know if I was ever I was trying to post, but I wasn't really good at it because I'm not really a social media guy. The website, however, profitablecontent.com, is set up to every blog post does auto post to Twitter. I think it's under the handle like Profitable RJ or something. So if you just want those, which is probably the only thing of value I have to say, it will auto post there. It also auto posts to Threads if anyone's on that. But as far as me making tweets, I think I was on it more so because I thought that's what you were supposed to do. You're supposed to have followings all over the place. And granted, if I kept at it, then maybe. But look, Elon doesn't bother me at all, really. I know he does bother a lot of people, but I do think the Twitter under his command is ruined from the standpoint, like, he seemed right in the sense that, like, yeah, you didn't need that many people because the platform's still up, but the checkmark thing kind of ruined it. Not that I want a checkmark, but he, at some point, like, how many tweets can I see about LeBron James getting traded to the Warriors? And of course, it's not true, right? Everything's a fake or a parody account or something adult rated, which doesn't bother me, but like, it is not what it used to be. Twitter used to be a feed where you could go through and actually get updates, which is why I wanted the website to post to it, and it would just show up in your news feed because you're not always on desktop, right? And so I don't even know there'd be a value to posting on Twitter really anymore, given you don't know what's real or fake. Not that someone's going to fake my account, but still, I don't know. I think he was right in a lot of ways because it's still clearly functioning, but I don't know what his plan is with it, and which is a shame because I did like Twitter. So to answer your question, doubtful, unless there's a large Twitter following here who just really wants to hear what I have to say, which is probably not good because I'm already going to get crap for saying I don't dislike Elon. I don't even remember why we're mad at him. So, favorite social media platform? You know what a crazy one to say is? It's LinkedIn. Not that I use it, but the one that makes me laugh the most is LinkedIn, because Instagram is like so obvious. We know why we're here, because we want attention. So it's going to be, look at my Ferrari. I'm going to run around my chest out, whatever, right? But we know why we're here. Everyone wants attention. LinkedIn is hilarious because you've got the LinkedIn lunatics ones, and it's just like such thirsty desperation for attention. Like, you can read a post and someone spent a solid 3 hours writing that post, and it's just, you don't talk like that in real life, and they're all stories that probably didn't happen, but it's just amazing. I love reading those and laughing at people. I don't think that's what LinkedIn's for, but it's a terrible answer. I mean, TikTok's pretty good, but the reason I don't like TikTok, I looked into doing TikTok for the second channel, because that's perfect for like a 60-second hit. Here's a bonus. But the thing about TikTok that I didn't like was they won't let you link to stuff outside of TikTok. So I was like, why does everyone always say link in my bio? Apparently TikTok doesn't let you put links in the videos. They're so scared of you leaving the platform. Well, that's not very helpful. So I like TikTok the most for an entertainment perspective, but as far as usefulness, I think it's a shame that they're so scared of you leaving the platform that they make it worse for everybody. Say what you will about YouTube, but you can link whatever you want in a description. Like, they're fine with it. They don't care. I can link to my website at the end of the video card. Like, that's amazing. So I also don't know that we think of YouTube in the same category as other social media. Like it feels like other people are on Instagram, and other people are on Twitter, and other people are on TikTok. It isn't. YouTube's almost more like feels more like watching TV back in the day, I guess. Like you don't think about like who else is watching the show right now, you know. Um, so in jest, I say LinkedIn. In entertainment, I say TikTok. I used to like Twitter. I want Twitter to come back, but until I can know what's actually real or not, I don't think it's gonna work. So there you go. Follow me, I guess. Phoenix, do you think the Wells Fargo Tune card was shut down for lack of interest or loss of money? Yeah, the other guy beat you to it, but yeah, I think it has to be a combination of both, right? Because it's, we see a lot of issuers make a 2% card, classic. They make a 3X card, travel, thing like that, classic. Then they've gone rotating categories to try to appease everyone, so there's something for everyone. In the categories we all complain, but it's gas, groceries, entertainment, whatever. The Attune obviously went in a very different direction, a lot of 4X, but it wasn't really 4X that you would, I don't think, put a ton of spend in gyms, barbershops, hair salons, EV charging. Maybe the entertainment one. I think the entertainment was one of them, I think. But so I don't know if I'm a regular customer, I don't know that I grab that card, or if I'm one of us, I think I do grab that card, but I don't think I'm putting a ton of damage on it because it's more of like a niche. So now I've got exposed risk and credit limit. I've got people who aren't really using it. Like if I were to get that card, I would have just used it for barbershops and like gym membership, right? Which is not that much money. I mean, it takes a little bit to keep me a camera ready, but not much, right? So I think it was a combination of the two. When I look at it, I think the easiest way to say it is the risk reward might not have been there, right? Because extending credit limit is risky, but then I'm not getting a lot of return back on money, and I also have to pay a product manager and a product team to keep supporting this product. Let alone, as we talked about earlier with Mr. Grabbag, is the card seemed broken from what I understand from Reddit. It's why I never prioritize it because it seemed broken. These aren't guys trying to say, it's supposed to work at Walmart for groceries. It's like it just doesn't work consistently. So I think all of those things meant it was like, maybe they learned there's just a reason we don't see cards like this. There's a reason we seek out cards like this because they complete our setup. Once again, it's a reason the custom cash was so popular because it allowed us to be whatever we needed it to be. So I think it had to be a combination of the two. So I look at it, I just don't see how we could have done so much damage to it that it would have been like, oh my gosh, this is like smartly of the custom. Custom cash is very obvious how that would happen to. Very popular, but very expensive when you've got 3, 4, and 5 of them. This one, I don't think they sold a lot of them, I guess, and the one people they sold them to used them very sparingly, as you would guess with those cards. Because that's like a 10th credit card. That's not a first, second, or third credit card, right? So I will miss it. I would be more upset if it consistently worked right based on reports. Let's put it like that. Because it never consistently worked right on reports, I'm like, well, it's a loss, but if it was broken, how big of a loss is it? Again, it wasn't broken for everybody, but still. So hopefully they come out with something else. Nanoparticle, he wants to be my dance partner. He says, have you ever done the robot on the dance floor before? I don't even get invited anywhere. I have not done the robot. I can see why you think I would do the robot. It's very robotic in nature is what I've been told. So you don't get a quick answer. I'll give you one more, though. So without offending anyone, I don't go to dances or dance or anything like that. But if you remember Carlton Banks from The Fresh Prince, one of the joys of being, again, try not to get upset or triggered, being a black person who isn't seen as being black, meaning you don't fit the stereotype, if you will. We'll just say I'm not good at basketball to make it as friendly as possible, right? All throughout my life, I got compared to Carlton quite a bit. And so the thing that people would always try to do is like do the Carlton thing, He's like one of those, not like him on Dancing with the Stars, but like him from The Fresh Prince. Do that dance. So that was a joy too, because everyone thought that was a new joke all the time. Like, he's like Carlton because, he's always got his sweaters on, and sure, he's black, but you get the point, right? So that came up quite a bit, but never the robot. No, I don't really dance. I don't really have any rhythm or anything like that, hence not being black, right? I have no rhythm. So it's, I can see why they made fun of me looking back on it. So there you go. There's a bonus for you. that you can laugh at me for. Everyone else got a super long answer. I don't want to leave you hanging. So no robot. Many of cheers to do the Carlton Bank stance. Didn't do it though. Try to have some more self-respect. Curmudgeon here. Do you think that preferred reward style banking will become more prevalent in the future? And which banks do you think will be next, if any? Seems to me that would create more stickiness, while just offering welcome offers only encourages people to jump. Yes, I agree with you. I think that is going to be a trend we're going to see. But I don't think it's going to be a trend in the way we like to see it. I don't think that like Citi and Chase and Wells are going to be like, hey, give us more of your money and we will give you better rewards like Bank of America and PNC, because their cards are already probably as good as they're going to get. I think what we'll end up seeing is them taking it into account, kind of like, I think I said this earlier, but I mean, it's been almost 40 minutes now. The Bank of America rules were like, yeah, sure, we'll give you more cards if you were an actual customer of ours, which means actual deposit amounts, actual transactions, actual spend on the products. I think they're going to start weighting that in their risk profiles, which is essentially what Chase is kind of doing now. And Amex has been hardcore with the once per lifetime. Chase didn't go so far as to say once per lifetime. They just say you may not. But again, if I had the ink cash and I was spending tons of money on it, I'm sure they'd give me another one. Why would I not give you another one? That's all you want? Sure, here, keep spending. But I think they're going to, you'll get some products early on, but they don't see a consistent run of using them as a bank, then I think they will start to weigh that into their denials. As far as rewards, I think Citi, Gold, and Wells Fargo are the ones to copy. When I did that rewards comparison, people were quite upset I didn't include Citi Gold in that. And we looked at PNC, SoFi, Smartly, and Bank of America, and Robinhood, because those are the programs to me are like, hey, you give me more money, I give you better benefits. Citi Gold gives you a slight discount on the Strata Elite, which, sorry to my friend Johnny out there, I'm glad the card works for him, but I hate the Strata Elite. I don't think it's a good card, but it works for him, so shout out to you, sir. We were talking about Citi Gold and that whole thing, and it really works for him. It's like $200K with Citi or something like that. And I'm happy that it works for them. But, for $200K, they're just giving you a slight discount on the Strata Elite. Maybe a few other things. For Wells Fargo, if you're a preferred client or something, they're giving you a black version of the Autograph Journey that's a Visa Infinite card, which probably, I think, comes with the Visa Infinite perks, which is better, but it's not, to me, it's not worlds better enough to give you that much money. But I think that's the stuff we're going to start to see. Maybe we start to use the payment type, the infinite versus regular, as a differentiator. Maybe we do slight discounts on the annual fees, but more than that, we exclude you. We will give you more stuff, but you got to really use us. I think everyone's in play, honestly. Bank of America's already doing it. I think Citi's already doing it. I think they'll get worse at it. Wells, I think all the top guys. Now, I am interested to see from the bottom, like, does, someone like Fifth Third, who's I would say comparable to Huntington or Key Bank, they start competing like PNC is doing? Probably not. It took how many years? Bank of America's been the only one doing it for 13 years, I think, 12, 13 years. So I think that part's going to take longer, but I guess you could even throw US Bank in the mix as well, too. But so, I think you're right, and that is the next to be sticky and to get actual customers. That's what they're going to want. So it's going to make it hard, like you say, to keep jumping around shopping products. The good news is they still need to sign new customers, and Verizon, AT&T, and those guys, they know that every 3 years you could have a new iPhone for basically free if you change carriers. But I do think they'll start to look at more things like that, more rules of that nature. So yes, not great, but I agree. Because I'm like, what else can you do at this point if you're them? So I'm with you. Matthew Ferguson here. My wife and I each have a Citi Custom Cash. We use one for grocery and one for gas. Should I start thinking about a 4 or 5% replacement for down the road? How long do you think before Citi nerfs or discontinues the Custom Cash? Do you have an opinion on the bread cashback card? Okay, so one at a time here. So I think you should have an option in the back of your mind, and luckily, if you're both cashback players, then I would tell you one of you to get the AAA daily advantage and one of you to get the travel advantage, and there you go, because one does groceries at 5%, the other does gas at 5%. So another honorable mention could be a PNC rewards card, the green one. So I think we just gave you two options. If you don't have those already, I wouldn't pull the trigger right this minute, but have them in your back pocket. I've thought about what I would do, and I would probably just swap in some of my Bank of America cards to cover off if I needed to. But, as far as when they're going to do it, I think the existing ones are good for the foreseeable future, but eventually they're going to have to do something, because I don't believe the problem was new customers. The problem was people who kept product changing to it, right? So even if I cut it off of new customers, if I still allow product changes, well, then the problem is still going to happen. So I think we're probably a year out before the Citi pushes a new card and it ends up being like the Rewards Plus, and they just push you to whatever their new card is. Maybe they let you keep one of them, maybe, but I think it was just simply too successful a card and they want them all gone, would be my guess. Do you have an opinion on the Bread cashback card, 2% card with Community? We need another 2% card when PayPal lowered theirs and Bread had a targeted 200 offer, so we snagged it. I don't have a strong opinion on it. As long as it's working for you, it's fine. I mean, I guess my choice would be, I kind of prefer the double cash simply because it was easier to cash out the points, but I think they changed. Did they change? Was it Chase was the one who changed it so you can't send your points to an external account? I went Citi because out of them and the active cash, Citi would let me send my thank you points out to an external bank account. But there's nothing wrong with the Bread financial card by any means. So if it's working for you and they paid you to get it, I think that's perfectly fine. I have, again, the AAA cards through Community / Bread Financial as well. I haven't had any. Their app isn't the best, but I only have to go in there once a month to pay it, so I have no problems with that. What did you do to lose the weight? What's your experience on diet routine? Keep up the good work. Well, I appreciate it, sir. It'll sound mean, but I think just like moving out was probably the biggest one. Not to blame anyone else, but I don't cook or anything like that. So like it was like an instant, like probably 10 or 15 pounds just being out on my own versus having people who make food, buy actual food and things like that. But actual tips, I think there's really understanding calories. Like, so one thing I would do is like, just because you're hungry doesn't mean like you're within your calories, right? Like you have to count you have to understand how many calories you need and count them ahead of time, right? You can like, just because you're hungry still after dinner doesn't mean you were under your calories, right? I was like, you eat sandwich and chips, you think, oh, well, that's pretty good. It was a sandwich chips, but you look at like a fun-sized bag of Doritos, it's like 150 calories. And generally you just throw like one handful, two handfuls on the plate. Like that was probably like 800 calories right then and there. So really, there's no way getting around that. I was also running a lot, which I know you wouldn't have guessed, but turns out you don't really need to run, just incline walking, making sure you get your steps in for movement. I don't move after the gym, so I try to get my 10,000 steps before I get home, but incline walking every day, and then training heavy weights, which I was always doing, but again, you have to do it in a certain way, making sure you're actually going heavy with decent form, and then proper rest in between each set, and then understanding that like only the heavy sets, the heavy challenging sets count, right? Because again, lifting heavy weights, the active lifting is going to burn a bunch of calories, but later on when you go to sleep and your body has to fix all the damage you did, then that's when you burn some extra calories. And then just get consistent with it, stay on track. I mean, it's easier for me sort of because I am like robotic like that, not in the dance method, but I don't mind doing the same thing every day and eating the same thing every day. So that's kind of what I did, like boilerplate stuff, I guess. But yeah, this is the calorie counting thing was the big one. Really understanding what's in there in each thing. And then I would go to the grocery store like early morning before everyone's there and just walk around and look at all the labels. And you can make some easy swaps in your current food setup. Like I like store brands because they're the cheapest and they don't taste really any different to me. But there's a quick example, like 2 slices of bread from like Kroger brand bread is like 140 calories. Of course, you're going to eat 2 because a sandwich needs 2. But if you look around, there's other bread that's probably costs more, but it's like 80 calories for 2 slices, right? So just right there, you can make that swap. And I'm not a foodie. I can't tell the difference. So I would, I guess, list out everything that you eat currently and just spend some time in store just seeing what swaps you can make. It will cost you more money, that is for sure. Store brands are cheaper for a reason, but before you even start cutting out a bunch of stuff, just make swaps and then you can actually do some damage just like that. So that helped as well. But keep putting in the work, my friend. You will get there to be sure. Average Joe, the last video is very interesting. Keep up the great work. Oh, well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I think the last one we talked about was how to choose a credit card or how to make it count in 2026. It's good to hear. I try to pick topics that are somewhat off the beaten path and conversational, so I do appreciate that when people like it. And we're going to be talking about a lot about approvals and things of that, building out setups versus intro offers, because that's really what's been on my mind as of late, as we know these issuers are cracking down quite a bit. Next up here, RJ, how could I get out of credit card debt? It's all like 40K. Well, that's going to be pretty tough, but it is doable. I think you got to start with a budget, first of all. You got to know where the money's, what's coming in, what's going out every month. So you've got to list out every single expense, and then you've got to go through and do the cutting, right? It can't be anything fun. It can't be anything like restaurants or streaming services. All that is money that could be going to that debt. So I think the budget is first and foremost. Once you do that, I think you consider looking at additional income, which it could be like a second part-time job. People throw out the ride apps and things like that. Depending on where you're at in your life and your career, it may still be fairly easy to get a job at a grocery store or something, working at the gym part-time, what have you. If you're later in your career, you might have to finesse the resume a little bit, so they're more willing to take you, so you don't have to go through the whole, hey, I'm just passing through type thing. But I really think those are going to be the main ones as a quick clip here. Now, if you wanted to, I don't know that you're going to get approved for $40,000. If your credit's still decent, you could look at getting a balance transfer card with like a 12-month 0% APR. There's still going to usually be a balance transfer fee, like 3 or 5%, but if you do the other things first, have a plan in place of exactly how much you can pay, then you'll know, you got to make sure you have that done before month 12 or all the interest comes back, when you could just balance transfer it again. That's again if your credit is still in good shape. The other thing you might want to consider doing is getting rid of any credit cards that don't have an existing balance, because for right now they're just not the best product or tool for you. So you might actually want to go to a debit card or even go to cash, just to make sure you're not doing anything at all to increase that balance. But a Cliff Notes version, I think that's really it. And I know we make fun of Dave Ramsey quite a bit, but he is really good at this stuff. So if they're all under, going after the smallest one first and knocking, where they do the snowball one, smallest one first, so you're knocking it out, making progress type thing. You could look at something like that, but it's got to have a budget, got to know what's coming in, coming out, got to go through, make the cuts. And if you really want to get through it, you're likely going to have to find some additional income. Bank promotions can help, sure, because your direct deposit has to go somewhere, but this isn't going to be fixed by doing anything in our space outside of that stuff. So it's a really high number to be sure, but we've seen people with a lot higher, and so I'm positive you can get it knocked out. So just keep at it, keep checking in, and let us know how it's going, my friend, but best of luck to you. Two more here. DJ, he's going through the Huntington bank bonus from Florida. So basically, long story short, Huntington changed their rules so that it's very weird now. They didn't used to care at all, and I used to churn Huntington all the time, but now they kind of do care. So he's basically asking about the terms. So let me pull up the terms. I did have this pulled up ahead of time, so I want to get it right, because I did this one myself. Let's see. So you can see here additional clarification. So encouraging responsible use, we encourage our valued customers to take advantage of cash promotional offers. However, to ensure fairness, we monitor for patterns of repeated use. Example, if you receive a cash incentive for opening a new business account and then another for a personal checking account, you may not be eligible for another cash incentive for any new accounts until 24 months have passed since the most recent payment. So the way I read that one is that if you haven't done any Huntington accounts, you could do the business and personal at the same time, but then you're done for 24 months because you've done both of them. So you might not, which means will not be eligible for another cash bonus on either one of them. So if this is your first time through, do both of them. If you've done one and not the other, I think you can do the other one, but then you end up in this weird staggered start. I don't know where they're counting from on that. So if you did the business 6 months ago, you sign up for the personal one, and you want to do another one again, I would say they're counting for, I don't know where they're starting the timer at. I did the personal, I signed up for the personal one this year, and they declined me. Well, they didn't pay me out, which is really annoying because the promo code did attach and everything, but they didn't pay because I had done both of them last year. So I would say that's what I would look at it as. But I don't think it's a rolling 12. To me, it's 24 months, honestly. So I won't be doing them next year, put it like that. So that's how I read it. If you haven't done any of them, you can do both of them together twice, but then nothing for 24 months. Come back and do them again, which is a shame. But again, we've taken those people for like everything they were worth for so long. So, you know, what can you do, right? I guess they have a right to defend themselves, I guess. And last up, Elizabeth here checking in, friend of the Bank of America group, and asking about Bank of America. You quickly mentioned this in a recent video. Well, thanks for watching. With Bank of America card, what reason would there be to pick any other category other than online for your enhanced rewards? Could most of the other categories be done online? Yes, you are correct. Most of them work online. The only one I guess that wouldn't really would be gas stations. I think that's in there. But yeah, like travel, for example, if you're booking tickets online, hotel online, it should all code as online. If you go into the transaction, Bank of America, I've looked at, it seems to be like an online indicator, like a yes or no for whatever reason. I think that's what they tell, and that's yes, then it should code as online. I've had it not work once, weirdly enough. I cut my own grass and do a lot of this stuff because I'm manly like that. But I do like the weed guy. They call him the weed man. They basically just spray so you don't get weeds in your grass, that whole thing. And I was paying online for my yearly re-up, and for whatever reason that one didn't. And that one really upset me. It was like $500 for a year, but that was the only one that I've seen that hasn't worked. I use it obviously for bank account funding and things like that. So I have three. Two of them are set to online. The third one might also be set to online, but it's more of a wild card. In the past, I would change it to travel because I think travel was covering other things, maybe. Like, I think I had it in for Uber rides and things of that nature. But yeah, online covers most. I think home improvement stores is one. So if you know what you're getting, you want to just go pick it up, then sure. But if you're going to walk around the store, then I could see changing one of them to home improvement. But for the big ones I think people are using it for is online. Gas, I think, is another big one, but it's not really that big. Dining, isn't that one too? I don't remember all the categories, but online, yes, to your point, would cover a wide range of things so long as you do it on the internet. That's why we love the internet so much. So why, again, I think those cards help them beat out PNC in their new reward structure. You don't really see anyone covering online purchases. It's basically Amazon and then like everything else. So yes, you could definitely leave them set to online. The good thing about them is you can change the category once per month. Is where like the Cash Plus card, once you pick, like you're locked in. So I have changed the category on occasion as well if I need to actually use the card in store or something. But yeah, online is the safest option. That's why I think I have two of mine actually labeled online. I put a label maker on there. Yes, I put online on actually like two of them. You see that? It says online. And the third one technically again is set to online. It's just more of I have it set as a wild card. So I don't have it written on there or labeled on there. But yeah, online. Way to go. That's why Bank of America, even with their kneecapping, is still one of my favorite issuers. I hate that it's the case, but it's just so darn useful. So anyways, we've made it about an hour, if that. That is everyone's questions thoroughly answered, I hope. If not, feel free to debate me down below or just ask more questions. Or maybe find me on Twitter if you want, I guess, or LinkedIn, I guess. Anyways, that'll do it for this one. So of course, if you liked it, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you found it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel. So we're posting content just like this every single week. And of course, right back here every Sunday for all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. And of course, every single day over on profitablecontent.com. which is, of course, the channel's blog. Always linked down below for you, and on the channel homepage, we post all the news stories, the bank promotions, and some credit card offers on occasion. We've been here long enough, so as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you very soon in the next one.